So today we are going to study plane angle. Plane angle we have all studied, and as we know, plane angle is a two-dimensional angle, and plane angle is arc upon radius, and the arc is this S. This is the arc, and this is the radius. So if you consider this entire thing to be a part of a circle, so this part of the circumference is the arc, which is S, and this is the radius, which is R. So angle becomes arc upon radius, that is S upon R. Now both of these quantities are the same dimensions. Therefore arc is a dimensionless quantity, but it has an SI unit called radian. Now what is solid angle? Solid angle, if you see, this is a cone. This is the cone. What I have done is, this is the surface, and I have joined these lines from the surface to a particular point, which makes a three-dimensional angle at the vertex, which is called a solid angle. So this is a semi-vertical angle, which is the planar angle. Like if you consider this to be a triangle, this is a semi-vertical angle, which is a planar angle, and this is the three-dimensional angle, which is a solid angle. So I am trying to show this with a single arc, and this I have shown it with a circle, to make you understand the difference between a two-dimensional and a three-dimensional angle. Now consider this area dA to be very small. This area, which is very small, called dA, it is a very small area. And why have I assumed this area to be small? So that what I am doing is, the entire periphery of this surface, I am joining it to a point P over here. And assuming dA to be small gives an advantage that all of these lines will have the same magnitude R. Now, if you consider this diagram, we will first focus on surface 1. So this is surface 1. Before that, we should understand the formula. The solid angle is represented by omega. Omega is a symbol, is the Greek symbol, and the solid angle is given by, the formula is given by ratio of the surface. What surface? The surface which is subtended at a point P. Let's call this point as P. The surface subtended at point P. Surface subtended at point P, and to the square of distance between the surface and the point. So assuming that this surface, let's call this surface as surface 1. This is surface 1. See, this surface is surface 1. So I have assumed the surface to be surface 1, and I have assumed that surface 1 has a very small area called dA. So now this area dA is very small, means that all of the distance of all the points at the periphery, of surface 1 to point P will be same as R. So it is defined as the area of the surface to the area of the surface subtended at the point to the distance of the surface from the point. Now if we see that there are three surfaces over here, surface 1, surface 3, and surface number 2. So I will focus on surface 1 and surface 3 first. Now if you see that surface 1 and surface 3 have the same solid angle omega, and here a confusion arises that what area we should take to find the solid angle, whether we should take area of surface 1, whether we should take area of surface 3. Now I will tell you that whether we take surface 1 or surface 2, the value of solid angle will remain the same, because if you see logically that surface 1 and surface 2 share the same angle of the cone, so therefore the solid angle remains the same. Now logically, how mathematically can I prove it? See, this is area and this is the distance. Surface 1 has a large area and the distance is also large from the point P. Surface 3 has a small area and the distance from the point P has also reduced. So dA and R have both reduced for surface 3. So if dA and R have both reduced, therefore the ratio will remain the same. Now we will talk about surface number 2 over here. Now this is surface number 2. Which is also having the same vertex of the cone, so for the same value of solid angle. So now what area we should take for surface number 2? See, surface 1 also. Now surface 1 and surface 2, if you consider surface 1 and surface 2, both are having different area, and if you consider that for surface 1 the value of R is same for each point on the surface, but for surface 2 the value of R for each point is different. Here the R is small, here the R is greater. So what we will do is, we will find a component of this surface 2 with respect to the horizontal surface. So if we find a component, let's take the area of surface 2 be A. So if we find a component of surface 2 with respect to the surface 1, I have called this area as perpendicular area. So if I try to find a perpendicular area, what does a perpendicular area means? The area which is perpendicular to R. So the surface area of surface 2 which is perpendicular to R, if this is the angle theta with the horizontal, you consider this line and this line. So in between these two lines, this is theta. So if this line is A, then this line will be A cos theta. So for surface 2, this area is equals to A cos theta, which is the perpendicular area. So now the formula of omega has been changed. Omega becomes component of area which is perpendicular to R. So we cannot put any area, we will put only that area which is perpendicular to R. And for surface 2, the area perpendicular is A cos theta. So in case of dA, we'll write A cos theta upon R square. Now if you see, for A cos theta, the value of R everywhere is constant. Now we will take another example to understand better, which is the example of a hemisphere. Now consider this as a hemisphere. And what I have to do is, I have to find the solid angle formed by this hemisphere at this point O. What will be the solid angle look like? Solid angle will look like this. This will be the solid angle. Now I have to find the value of this solid angle, calling this as omega. So what I have done is, I have assumed this point. So now I see that the area of this point, this is the area of this point is perpendicular to R. See the perpendicular? It is perpendicular to R. Now since the area is perpendicular to R, so a very small, so what I will do is, I will join all of these lines at O. So by this area, the solid angle formed is this. This is the solid angle. And like if I take another area over here, like suppose this is also dA, and if I join this dA with O over here. Now this is R. See, this is perpendicular. This is perpendicular, and I am joining all of these. If I join all of these, now this is the small solid angle formed by this DA at O. But I have to find the solid angle due to the entire hemisphere. So what will I do is, I will consider it for a very small point on the surface of the sphere, and then I will integrate this. So what I've done is, the value, let's call this as d omega. Let's call this as d omega. So this happens to be d omega. Now, d omega is dA upon r square. But for the entire surface of the hemisphere, I will have to integrate. Now this sign which you see over here, is called surface integral. So surface integral dA upon r square. R square is constant value. For a hemisphere, the radius is always constant. So r square becomes constant. Surface integral dA. Surface integral dA means what? See, dA is a small point on the surface of the square. And like this point dA, there can be this also. This is also dA. This can also be called dA. This can also be called dA. So likewise, I can take a lot of dA, infinite dA, on the surface of the hemisphere. And if I add the area of each dA, I will get the area of the surface area of the hemisphere. So integral dA means I am integrating or adding all the dA on the surface of the hemisphere. So the value becomes 2 pi upon r square. Integral dA is 2 pi upon r square. Placing the value over here, I get omega is equals to 2 pi. So if the solid angle for the hemisphere is 2 pi, then for the complete sphere it should be 4 pi. Now come over here. See, for a complete circle, take sphere 1. For a sphere 1, the solid angle, this is the solid angle. For half angle, for hemisphere it was this, but for complete it will be above and both. So this will be the three-dimensional angle. You can call this omega as a very small ball inside a very big ball. So for this hemisphere 1, this is the solid angle whose value is 4 pi. If I take another sphere of a large radius, what will happen? The solid angle here for 1 and here for 3 remains the same, because this is also inside this. But because 4 pi is inside 3 also and inside 1 also. So 1 and 3 will share the same solid angle. If I take a cube, now cube also encloses this solid angle. Therefore, for 1, 3 and 4, the value of the solid angle will remain the same. Now, if I take any other irregular closed surface, for example, surface number 2 is a very irregular surface. It does not have any proper geometry. Then also, since this surface 2 encloses surface 1 and surface 1 has solid angle 4 pi, so for surface 2 also the solid angle will remain 4 pi. Now, what does it means? What is the closed surface? Suppose I take a point here. Now this point is inside 1. So 1 is a closed surface for this point. But if I take point on the surface of 1, now this point is exposed. Now this point, let's call this point as P1 and this point as P2. P1 is inside 1. So for P1, surface 1 will be considered, sphere number 1 will be considered a closed surface. But P2 is exposed because it is on the surface. So for point P2, 1 will not be considered a closed surface, but surface number 3, that is sphere number 3, will be considered a closed surface both for P1 and P2. Now I think you all are clear with what is a closed surface and why a solid angle will be 4 pi for any irregular closed surface. So if I ask you what will be the solid angle for a cuboid, for a point inside the cuboid, what will be the value of the solid angle? So you will say it will be 4 pi, because since it is a closed surface, the value will be 4 pi. Now what is the physical significance of a solid angle? See, what I did is I had to put up a projector and a screen in a room. So what I did is I bought the screen, I bought a projector, and I placed them on the opposite walls. Projector on one wall and the screen on the opposite wall. And when I switch on the projector, I see that the projector does not cover the screen which is there on the image which is being presented on the screen does not cover the entire screen. It is small. So what I see that how to solve this problem. See, this was the solid angle over here, and this is the solid angle here. So what I did is I calculated the distance between the opposite walls, and I calculated the area of the screen, and using that I found the value of solid angle as A upon R square. Now the value of solid angle is clear. So I will again go to the market and I will buy a projector of solid angle omega. Now this projector will present the image on the screen completely. The image will completely cover the entire screen. So that means that solid angle has some physical significance in projector industry. Now, if you see, it is not only projector, it is everywhere where the lenses are involved. See, if you earlier mobiles were not able to cover the entire picture in a single frame. People had to move a little back. So what was and now the mobile phones, you can take a selfie or you can take a graphy just at a distance of a hand. So what has happened? The value of the solid angle has increased over there. So what has happened? The area covered has increased. So if the value of A has increased and the value of R has decreased, therefore the value of solid angle has increased. So for a lens with a large value of solid angle will cover a larger surface area of projection at a very small distance. Thank you.